The
Showtime.
stream is
Showtime.
live. Showtime, folks.
Yes, it is. And Sleepy Reader is waiting,
Woohoo!
or he's he. I'm saying 0 viewers. Where are you off to, Damien? You can't be there before the show starts and not be there when it starts.
He's
He
He's a
came
crazy
on. We weren't
fool.
there yet. He went off and got something to drink.
Mhm.
Crazy folk. Showing up, disappearing, showing up.
Mhm. I saw something a few minutes ago. There he is. Yes,
There
he
he
is.
is.
He's here.
Welcome.
Mhm. I saw something a few moments ago. Apparently, Dark Horse is reprinting the entirety of Dreadstar.
Oh yeah, I just saw that in 2 omnibuses.
Yeah, I did see a headline for that.
So
They
2
came up in my
omnibuses.
feed.
So did they say it includes? There's Werewolf. Just a society. Well, you guys are. I'm just asleep. We just need a younger person to be a member of the Teen Titans.
We need Snapper Carr. He's
Nobody
young
needs
and hip.
nobody
Nobody
needs
that.
Snapper Carr.
Yeah,
Rick
I saw
Jones.
I must say though,
had much more personality than Snapper Carr.
Snapper Carr had snapping. That was his whole personality,
Mhm.
as far as I could tell.
Yeah, that's
Sleeping
from a
Hour
writer going, what do
60.
kids do these days?
I must say, I didn't like either of the covers on the Dreadstar omnibuses because they came up in my feed. Whatever, who knows what group, what feed it was, because my Facebook feed is like nothing I volunteered for ever. It's all ads for stuff and groups I can join. But one of them had the Dreadstar omnibuses in it. And both covers were very similar. They were just kind of like the main character floating in the middle with a bunch of other characters floating around them, kind of.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I noticed that on that popped up on my Facebook feed that doing the Dreadstar, but I thought he recently made another announcement, but that might have been it.
I saw Scott Koblish announcement today too.
Mhm.
He's doing a new miniseries. Ooh, what is that? Patton Oswald. I forget the name of it. Patton Oswald has his own sort of line with Dark Horse called something that I can't remember, but they're doing a crossover with the Archies. And Scott Koblish is drawing it. I think it's a mini series. It's Patton Oswald's. Oh, I can't remember the name of it because I've never bought it. But it's some like superhero universe he's got. What was
Minor Threats?
Minor Threats. That's it.
Hmm.
So it's Patton Oswald's Minor Threat. I think they're like superheroes, but kind of minor superheroes. Hence Minor Threats. But they're teaming up with Archie.
And Mort Todd had an announcement as well.
Oh yeah,
he's the head of Steve Ditko's IPs. I guess they're going to look at
new publishing arm.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, they're going to put. Yeah, I saw the interview on the comic book historians. Was that? Yeah, so they're reprinting all of Ditko's indie stuff, including Mr. A.
Right.
Because that's exactly what Ditko would have wanted.
Minor Threats is minor supervillains, says Sleepy Reader. Yeah, and it's Ditko's nephew who is who's working
head of it,
for
I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's the one who's been upfront about getting people to rediscover Steve Ditko's legacy.
Yeah, I actually watched the interview with was it Comics Historian?
Yeah, Alex Kren. Yeah,
I watched that one. Helvist has been deployed.
Delayed.
Delayed. Oh,
Delayed.
Battle Beast has been delayed.
What's
Okay.
what's Battle Beast?
Battle Beast, he was a character in Invincible. And he was like a
Mm.
minor character, but like a popular minor character
Ah.
who's getting his own comic miniseries. I don't know which. I can't remember if Final Cutoff happened already or didn't, but I guess since it's being delayed, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
I know it was announced recently. What's weird is sometimes the announcements come like 3 months before Final Order cutoff, and sometimes they come right before Final Order cutoff. I either ordered it or I didn't. If I didn't order it, then I've got to order it in the future. If I did order it, then it's coming. May now. Okay. So it must have hit Final Order cutoff then, because if it's coming out in May instead of April, then probably Final Order cutoff was here
Mm.
already. So I do have issue number 1 coming. I may have put it on my pull list. Like, I think Kirkman is writing it, and one of the Invincible artists is drawing it. So it should be fun.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
But regarding
definitely a popular
Mr. A
character.
and Dreadstar, I think it's a good time, and also Chicken's Black Kiss. I think it's a good time for indie properties to
Yeah.
try to find new audiences decades after the fact.
Oh yeah.
Has Chaikin's Black Kiss, the collected edition, come out yet?
Not yet, I think.
Because once ago, again, I don't know if I pre-ordered it or not. I remember thinking about pre-ordering it, but I don't know if I did. So I either have it coming to my local comic shop or I don't. Either way, I'm going to have to track it down.
It'll be a nice surprise when it shows up.
Yeah.
Is there any old series that you guys would want to see reprinted?
Any old series that I'd want to see reprinted.
Mm.
How about one that will never, ever, ever be reprinted? Max of the Regulators. Max of the Regulators was this mid 80s black and white comic boom book that's been a favorite of mine for years and years and years, but it's just ridiculously goofy. It's this sort of space Judge Dredd. And I swear it was part tax write-off too, because it's like the first issue was it was like self-published, and then like the second issue the publisher was sold to somebody else, and still it's like the publishing kept being sold to the next guy in line, or it was like, but it was just this goofy, funny. The running gag in it of Max of the Regulators was it was like a space book, and they were space cops, and it was illegal to own guns. So Max would always like take one of his drop pieces and throw it on the bed and go, "Look, that guy's got a gun," and then just shoot him dead. And he go, "Oops, sorry, that was my gun."
Yeah.
That was like one of the goofy running gags of it, and to me, it was just like a perfect example of, some guys who just always wanted to do their own comic book, and the black and white boom let them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been one of my favorites since the mid '80s. But no one knows it exists but me. You can probably find it on mycomicshop.com, but that's probably the only place.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wish somebody would reprint the Futurians.
Didn't they do that already, or they tried to?
Only in France.
Okay.
In 2001.
No, it was more recently, than maybe 10 years ago, because I know Bob Wyacek was supposed to be doing some work on it, but then he couldn't.
It was a new series.
It was a new series.
In Rob Life, no, it wasn't Rob Life, but I saw some of the art, and that thing was atrocious. It was somebody trying to do a Paul Smith, Chris Sprouse style, but it was so flat. It didn't.
Battle Beast would make sporadic appearances, but was so badass when he finally did appear, one of my favorite characters in the book. Yeah, I think that would have Werewolf by Lunchtime. I think that was the general feeling of most people, and he would be like referred to, and I think he was even seen, but he didn't show up till late on. I haven't read him in a while.
Eric P is here.
Welcome.
Hello there, Eric P.
What's up?
I want to show you an interesting comic that I got this week. Matter of fact, I got 15 of them. Um, Wilson, I think it was a little before your time. Do you know who Vincent Melcaric is? Do you remember him? He was a raider in the
The
early
name
90s,
sounds familiar,
but he
as if he was,
died.
like, mentioned, but I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever
he
met him.
died in 92. He died
Okay,
suddenly.
so that was yeah, I never met him.
You would have known his name only because he was the raider who died.
It sounds
I think
vaguely
he,
familiar.
but I was in one of my, I think it was in my like indie comics of the 80s group. Somebody showed this right here, which I didn't know existed. Vincent Melcaric Jr. Memorial comic, the Scott Hampton cover. Uh, I guess he went to Cooper Union, who published this for him. There's a Paul Chadwick back cover. There's a since he worked with John Romita, there's a John Romita portrait of him.
Oh, cool.
And it reprints. He must have done a What If book. This is What If Professor X had become the Juggernaut. Kurt Busiek writer, Vince Melcaric penciler, Aiken and Garvey were the inkers. And then it's got some other stuff he did. Looks Werewolf Mercy Mission. This looks like like I said, since he was a raider, he was probably penciling some stuff for Marvel. For those who don't know, Romita's Raiders were like assistants to John Romita. There was anywhere from 1 to 3 of them at any time, and they would sort of apprentice with John Romita and do art corrections for Marvel. Pilgrim. Here's another story of his, Pilgrim Souls, and in the back it's got a bunch of these. It's got a nice little remembrance by John Romita in it. It's got, let's see, Clive Barker drawing, Jose Marzan Jr. drawing, who was also a raider, Jimmy Palmiotti, George Pratt. There's some random. Let's see if we get some other random drawings in the back here. I think these are just some sketches by him. I like this Paul Chadwick one though. That one's pretty nice, and of course the Scott Hampton cover is really nice. Let's see what else we got here. Don't know who that is. Let's see. That's William Stout. So there's some nice drawings in here. Oh, there's that's a Clive Barker drawing there, the crow-faced guy. And the other monster is, who's a signature? Curtis and Tapa. I'd have to look up what their names are. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, there's a Jimmy Palmiotti. And I'm not sure. I'd have to look. Who's next to Palmiotti? That is. Oh, that's another George Pratt, that Scarecrow. So, and here's his 1963 to 1992. So he was 29. But you can take me off solo now. As listen, I didn't know this existed. So I looked up on eBay, as I do, and if you're buying a single comic on eBay, it's usually going to cost you no less than $8 because the comic's going to be $5. Usually shipping is $5 and the comic is anywhere from $3 to $5. That's what this was there for. I saw one that for $10, and I think Vince was from Staten Island, or if not from there, he lived there, because there was a Staten Island person who had, I think, 14 copies of this for $10. And then they sent me a deal for $8. So with shipping, and they got hosed on the shipping too, because with shipping and tax, I think it was $13. Then I noticed, like, on the shipping, to me, it was like $7.50 shipping. So it was like they just must have wanted to get rid of these.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I'll just hand them out to people. I may as well buy all 15 and hand them out. I surely know some people who knew Vince from back in the early 90s. So I'll hand them out to people when I see them.
How much would have cost you to take the ferry to Staten Island to get the comic?
It's free. The Staten Island ferry is free these days. So, but yeah, it was nice. Like I said, I didn't even know this existed. Now I have 14 of them. But
So
I
you should
bought
have
it.
gone to Staten Island.
What was that?
So you should have gone to Staten Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been cheaper.
And coincidentally, he was also engaged to somebody I went to college with. Like, I think she was from Staten Island also. That's how they met. But there's
I'm quite surprised by the amount of by the quality of the artists that contributed to that, because I wouldn't have imagined if he was a writer at Marvel. Where did you know George Pratt and Scott Hampton from?
They may have taught at the Cooper Union. That's what I figured. The Cooper Union is an art school in New York City. I imagine George Pratt. I know George Pratt was teaching at the time. I don't know where, but he could have been the Cooper Union. I figure. I don't know where he'd know. Maybe William Stout was teaching there too. I don't know where he'd know Clive Barker from.
When did the
when did the Barkerverse start?
Barkerverse started in '93, but the Nightbreed and Hellraiser comics were published at Epic at around the same time it would have been there.
Yeah. Okay.
So if he did stuff so if Vince McCarrick did stuff for Epic, Barker wasn't directly involved with those, but yeah, I guess it could have met. I mean, Barker probably had to do some approvals and stuff.
And his Marvel credits are, What If number 13 was that Professor X became Juggernaut, and then Marvel Comics presents 113. Mercy Mission, written by Len Kaminsky, inked by Chris Ivey.
Was that the werewolf story?
Yeah, I think that's the werewolf story. And then Avengers Annual 19, Acts of Vengeance Epilogue, written by Mark Grunwald, inked by Bob Downs. And then, let's see, page 70 from Marvel Superheroes Spring Special 1991, Call Waiting, written by Danny Mishkin, inked by Chris Ivey. Monster Island, originally presented in Dark Horse Presents 47. Oh, so I have that one. Pilgrim Souls, originally presented in Dark Horse Presents 45. So I've got both of those. Monsters, never published ad for a miniseries he was working on for Nightwind. Let's see. The rest of the stuff is from Evolution Comics. Dangerous Times, Belegian Days. I don't recognize that one at all. Okay. So nice little, memorial comic from 1993, I guess it came out. Yeah, this 1993. Published by his brother, David B. Milcarek. Any resemblance to actual persons, excluding Vincent J. Milcarek Jr., living or dead, is purely coincidental. Thank you. So if anybody wants a copy of a Sanjay Jr. Spider-Man No More print that my wife bought me from QVC from no less.
Sleeper is asking if Cooper Union is still free.
I don't know.
I
know it was for years and years, but I'm not sure.
I think I don't think it is anymore. I almost remember a headline saying that they were going to start charging, but I don't know when they made that decision. That was probably 20 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And here is the governor of Newfoundland, who pledging allegiance to Portugal. So Newfoundland is now ours. We will start fishing for cod immediately.
Cooper Union. Yeah, I haven't heard about Cooper Union in a little while. Just heard about the Art Students League. I forgot about they were at your show that was at your high school.
Yes, they were.
One of my students was at there at the art. He's part of the Art Students League too,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah, they were
he was at
there.
the
Who
show.
else was there? School of Visual Arts had a table, and I think that was it as far as the college schools over there.
How many art schools that can teach you about comics are there in and around New York?
Oh, a lot now.
Yeah, it's more of a thing now, but I mean, you still have the Kubert School that is about comics, and then you have classes in the other schools. So School of Visual
Yeah.
Arts has it, and I don't know if Cooper Union has one. I haven't really thought about Cooper Union. I had applied there when I was in junior high. We were looking at schools, art schools in Manhattan, and my mom was just taking me to so many different places. And we went there to find out that that's more of a college, and that after I go to art and design and have a couple of years there, then try for the Cooper Union School. And back then it was free, and I don't know why we never went back to it. I know. So I got into art and design, and they were like, "Oh, you get into art and design is really exciting. So after you go to art and design, then come here." I have no idea why we didn't go there. And what was funny was like, it wasn't until years later it's like, "Oh yeah, I went to Cooper Union to bring in my portfolio. Why didn't I ever go back?" And it just never had that answer.
Yeah, when I was in art school in the mid '80s, there were zero art schools that taught anything about comics. Comics were looked down on 100%. And the Kubert School isn't actually a college. You get they're not accredited. You get a certificate from them, but not a degree. So it's really a trade school more than a college. But they were still the only one teaching comics.
Yeah.
Um,
Did they
like
have their
none.
mail order system set up at that time?
Yeah,
Or was that
no, I
more
don't
of
even think they
a
did.
recent thing?
Ladies and gentlemen, our guests. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, hello there.
Welcome.
Just a little bit here. Hi.
Yeah, now there's like a lot of now. I think most art schools have some sort of comic book program. Some like Savannah Art and Design have a major comic book program. So does RISD these days. Um, my school at Pratt has one too. Um, but like I said, in the mid '80s, nope.
I
Not at
just
all.
saw that the Kubert School got bought out and moved.
Yeah, they're still in Dover.
Yeah, they moved down the road, but they were
Yeah.
just on Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash show the other day talking about that.
Ah,
An
yeah.
alumnus at the school bought it.
One of the fellow former bullpenners Wilson and I used to work with has been teaching there for like 20 years. Michael Kreger. Oh, by the way, I didn't know when we were talking last week about the editors. We knew. I didn't know Lisa Hawkins got fired from Alien Books / Valiant.
Yes, I think I found out the next day
Me
or
too.
so. 'Cause I was at Art
Hey,
and
Danny.
Design. I was at Art and Design, and I was having a conversation with Chris Allo, who was former Marvel employee, and so we were sharing a table together, and we were talking, and we were, we're talking because he did intern for Lisa, and he was talking about it. And I was like, oh yeah, I just read that she's no longer at Valiant. She's like on a nice little sabbatical. She's been on kind of vacation for the last
Yeah.
month or so.
The next day, she posted on Facebook about her being in Europe or something and changing her and giving the story of her life and what's been going on and how she got fired in February. I was like, I'm like, we were just mentioning her.
Yeah.
I had no idea she got fired.
So Ted Goblin has a 600% tariff. Nope, this is
No,
casual
not
Friday.
wearing a suit to it.
Also, it doesn't matter because now that you are one of our provinces, suits are outlawed. Have I ever shopped for comics in any other country besides Portugal? Yes, I bought newsstand comics in France, Spain, and Italy.
I almost bought a
Reader says
book
hi.
in Germany because it was really cool to see Disney books being sold in a German on a German stand. I think I bought like soda and chocolate in that stand because I just went in to grab something to snack on. It was like, oh, there's comic books there. I should grab one, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
And
The
Sleepy
Cupid
Weaver
School
asked,
rep.
is the Cupid School's rep still good in the industry since it's changed hands? As
Yeah.
far as I know, it is, because all the
Yeah,
teachers are the same.
the teachers aren't really changing.
Yeah.
Dersim is still there. Mandrake's still there. It's a former student who actually bought it. Their
Okay.
main artist stable is those guys plus people from Archie and stuff. It seems to be in real good hands.
A former student bought it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's told some great stories. Like I said, he was on the Secret Stash episode
Okay.
Wednesday night. But I was upstairs and I was listening to you guys and had things rambling while I was moving stuff around, and I thought that's kind of funny. This gets mentioned and it's right on top of things, and of course,
Minor threats. Yes, that's what we were talking about.
talking about minor threats, and it was the Patton Oswalt book, and that was sitting right in front of me. Then you brought up something else, and I was standing right next to my magazine box, and you seem to be a fan. You know what this is?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
First appearance of Vance Dreadstar. I thought, well, you're going to talk Dreadstar. I'm standing right next to his first appearance.
That's back when I liked Dreadstar.
Well,
I didn't. Once he started the comic book, he became more of a superhero. I wasn't a fan of Dreadstar.
Yeah, there was a Brazilian comic called Epic Marvel, which Editora Abril tried to launch in 1985 or 6. It only lasted for 6 issues, but they did do the first. That's nice.
I see you guys come on, and I always want to grab out these things.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Direct market board. Then things that, if you're fans of PC, there's the mailing envelope.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
That's Star Slayer 5. Anybody know the significance of that?
Is that the first Rocketeer?
No.
Did he appear in Star? No.
Star Slayer 2 is technically the
Grimjack.
first Rocketeer.
Was it first
it's
what?
The second appearance of Gru.
Second appearance of Gru was in Star Slayer?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he came out with the Kirby, but the Destroyer deck book, and then there's a mailing envelope for Captain Victory. Too.
I had a subscription to Captain Victory. I never once thought to save the envelope.
So, but yeah,
but I was a kid.
Second Gru's in there, and then talked about them last week, so I made sure these were sitting up high in case I came on. If I show them, here's a 1967 editor's photostat. From ACG Comics with approvals and notations on it for changes and things.
Cool.
So there's an editor's photostat. Same editor. Now here's the holy crap ones. Cardboard Casanova. Since we were talking about, you were talking about.
Is that a negative of the black
offset press negatives? Yep. And you can see, I mean, they couldn't do white out on it, so they had to do red out.
Well, that's because red was black.
Yep.
So that's how you patched the little white hole, the pinholes in the negative.
So, yep. And there's the original negative for Cardboard Casanova.
Right.
From a...
That opaque red is what they painted all of the color separations with.
And then the pièce de résistance to it. My favorite, which is double covered and actually set up to be hanging and stuff, but I'll take it out of one of the plastic containers here, but not the other. The bikini.
Ah.
How
This is
risque.
actually a 19. Yeah, there you go. Big girl. Then the reverse side, which is actually has the corrections on it. And then what I was talking about, like these things really pop if you put like yellow construction paper behind them,
Mm-hmm.
or orange, something kind of bright, like orange popped with this one. Like if you frame these things up, put a nice color behind it, and the stuff pops out when you display it.
That's the black plate, right?
Yeah, this is the offset negative from the printing press. So it's the one of one. That is absolutely a one of one. And then again, I only went for things that were immediately handy because I'm not doing an ungodly amount of digging or anything today. I always love showing this every chance I get. Look familiar to anybody?
All True Crime. No, I don't think I recognize that one.
Canadian edition. Here, I'm going to take it out. God, I just have to smell this. Every time I touch this, I have to just pull it out and smell it. So in 1948, to publish, oh my God. You can see by the header, this is obviously an Atlas or a Marvel comic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 1948,
I think that was their first crime. Their
when
first crime title.
When they reprint, you would think when they reprint, the backstory here is changed to a crime comic, and you can see it's in color. It's not a black and white. It's not a Canadian white. It predates the Canadian whites. These are the last 4 pages, which are a crime mystery story, which replaced the Captain America story, which was pulled out of it because this is Marvel Mystery Comics 87.
Okay.
The Canadian print, which means it's not a reprint because this came out in 1948, October 1948. It is the Canadian edition of Marvel Mystery 87. With the Submariner, the Human Torch, the Blonde Phantom, and what would have been a Captain America story, but they switched it.
And the 4-page crime backup got the cover.
They had to. So they didn't have to pay the cheap way to do it. So they didn't have to pay the cover artist for the international. They used an interior page, put it on the cover. Different type of cover, but yeah, this is a slightly post-war Marvel Comics. Oh my God. Marvel Mystery Comics 87 in its entirety, first print.
Was that still Toro? I was under the impression that Sun Girl had debuted by now.
Oh my God, that smells so good. Mm-hmm. I could just sit here and smell these all night long. But yeah, that's my show and tell for the moment. Unless you guys want to see something crazy that might be up front that you may not have seen before. But
I just wanted to wave this one more time since we were talking about the Kubert School. This was at Mocha Fest, given to me by Jesse Marsh, a current Kubert School student. So they're still there making comics.
Yeah.
I met him last year with his teacher and our old bullpen friend, Michael Krager. So this year he showed up without Krager and gave me this. So a little Joe Kubert School stuff.
Cool.
So 62 Lefty Blues is here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Kyle, a werewolf by lunchtime is demanding one of your army sex stories.
He had sex with an army? Holy cow.
One, I wasn't in the army. I was a Marine.
Right.
2, I'm done telling sex stories from a long time ago. If you guys hadn't heard them by now, you're not going to hear them again. Mm-hmm. There are rumors I've slept with some rather famous people. And they can just stay out there as rumors now.
Sleepy Reader liked the envelopes you showed.
Yeah. And he liked Dreadstar when Starlin did.
Yeah.
That to me, that's like the story of just about every creator-owned comic.
Yeah, because
Once the
the in
creator
the
leaves, it's
yeah, because they didn't have endings planned out for their comics, so
right.
they ran out of steam. Because I suppose they didn't think of any other way that they would publish them. They just
Right.
go on like it's a regular comic at one of the big ones.
Right. That was that's how they, thought of them. So that's how there was no other like template for doing comics.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, let's make a 24 issue comic and then stop and make another one. And
Right.
it just didn't exist.
Right.
It
Yes.
was
Starlin stopped drawing after issue 25, I think. Luke McDonald took over, and the type of story they were telling shifted a bit. Because you remember that Starlin had that period around the time that he wrote the Robin's death in Batman, and he was actually trying out different stuff from his usual let's do Thanos and Adam Warlock shtick. And but then Starlin stayed until issue number 40, and after that he gave the title to Peter David and Angel Medina, I think. And then Peter David started doing an Israel story in space.
Want to see the first Chris Geruso cover?
Oh yeah.
This is Uncanny X-Men, number 13. Where it looks like we have the W's.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Vision, Warlock. What was the name of that Soviet super soldier guy? Right there with the hammer and sickle.
Vanguard.
Yeah.
Vanguard? That's the one I didn't remember. And is that one of the Vindicators up there?
Yeah, that's Heather.
Couple of the Warriors 3.
Yeah, Will o' the Wisp. There's the Water Wizard.
Who's
Wendigo.
the green guy?
That's
No, Whirlwind, right.
Whirlwind, yeah, that's Whirlwind.
The Wingless Wizard.
Yeah, the Unimind.
Oh, Unimind, that's it.
That's, yeah, and Terminus. And the Unicorn over there, they're all little. Yeah, nice.
Not bad. Who's the Unicorn, right? Okay. Yeah. The comic itself was okay, but weird. Who's doing it? Gail Simone is the writer. David Marquez is the artist. Matthew Wilson is the colorist, and Clayton Cowles on letters. The comic itself was okay, but as a single issue, it didn't. What's weird about it is it's written kind of like it's not funny, but it's written like a sitcom in that there's 3 stories in it. There's a flashback story to this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know her name, but
there's something wrong. Please try again.
My watch just started talking to me.
Stop using Apple products.
Yeah, I just got this watch last week. She's obviously a mutant from the past, and she's dealing with she's having to travel from Chicago to Louisiana, and she's dealing with racism and being a mutant somehow. There's that story going on. Then there's the story of Gambit and this giant dragon. And then there's the third story of, I don't know, these I guess these are the current X-Men. I don't even know who they are. Going on their little adventure.
Yeah, that's okay. That looked like Sienna Blaze. Why would Sienna Blaze be?
Let me see if I can find a picture of them all. No, it's there's not even a, there they are.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not Sienna Blaze.
I don't know who they are.
Yeah, nobody does. That's the point.
But
because every new writer has some sort of fetish character that they came up with that they want to foist upon the X-Men, and then nobody else cares.
It was. I mean, but it was absolutely fine. But as a single issue, it was like, clearly. There we go. You got it. Tit Goblin asks, how much did your friendship with Chris cost you this week? Let's see. Cost me $5, $10, $14, $18. Same as last week, $18. So it's cost me. My friendship with Chris has cost me $36 over the last 2 weeks.
Eric P has been enjoying.
Yeah,
Eric P has been enjoying the Uncanny X-Men.
It was absolutely. It was well done. It was just weird that there was 3 stories in it. My friend looked at the Chris Jeruso cover and said it looked like Peanuts. Well, I know that Charles Schulz has a big influence on him, so I can see that. But it was just weird that it was like there was so little of each story in a single issue that it made me. I mean, I liked it, but it was clearly written not as a single issue, kind of, to me at least, kind of thing.
Why are the X-Men books $1 more?
What was that?
I just noticed the X-Men books are $1 more.
2 of them are $1 more, and 2 of them I don't know why. 2 of them are $4, and 2 of them are $5.
Yeah, I picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 issues of Chris's books that are all the connected covers, and I was looking at the back, and it's like 4, 4, 4, 5.
Yeah.
So
just like last week, 2 of them were $4 and 2 of them were $5. Let's see. Daredevil.
Says,
you know what it is? I think the more popular ones are $5.
That's how they
get you. They're just trying to get an extra $1 out of their fans.
Yeah. Eric P says some characters seem to strike a chord. That depends on the characters, but most of them are from Grant Morrison's run. It's Quentin Quire, it's Herman the Glop, and
I have no problem with new characters. I am 100% okay with new characters. I mean, I buy so many new comics.
The problem is that most of them are kind of uninspired.
Oh, well, that's because I think that in order for like Marvel and DC, I think it's good that Marvel and DC are creating new characters. But in order to get a good new character, you have to create 20 characters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just the math of creating characters.
Yeah, that's why Rob Liefeld did 20 every issue.
Yeah, exactly. Which is also why so few new characters have been hits.
Mm-hmm.
Because there haven't been a lot of new characters created. Creators don't always want to create new characters for Marvel and DC, of course.
One of these days, I'm going to go over the first years of Marvel and find out which characters from that era never became famous. Like the first Doctor Strange or the Miracle Man. Losers like that. The Keeper of the Flame.
You're going to have to get one of those omnibuses that for the 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
November, they just announced a new one. I forget which month, like 65, sometime in 65.
Yeah, Werewolf stopped reading X-Men around 230. So that would have been Fall of the Mutants. So it's been a while.
Yeah,
because there are no tariffs. There really are no tariffs on the comics.
While I'm up here, you want to see a few more things before I truck back downstairs? My daughter just showed up today with this.
Where does that come from?
It's actually stretched canvas.
Okay, was that custom made then?
It was like a 2008 promotion that she found. She got that for dirt cheap.
It's weird. I saw a lot of stuff not that size, but like posters and things in like the FedEx store like 10 years ago.
I don't remember if I ever showed you guys this stuff. My London Calling album, because fellow comic book aficionado Mick Jones from The Clash signed me this issue of 2000 AD from 8 December 79, the release date of London Calling. And that's just other random music swag. Goes all over there too, but unless you really want to see it, I'm not digging too deep.
No
Romeo Tanghal drawing my wife as Wonder Woman for an
Yep.
anniversary present to us a couple of years ago. So, Hillary Barta's interpretation of me. So, but while I was sitting over here, I mean, I'm going to veer off of comic books a little bit, but again, I blame it on the audience because he asked about Army stories, and my mom died unexpectedly recently, so I've been leafing through stuff that was at her house, and you know, not Army but Marines, and that would be me in 1988. So that's what I looked like 37 years ago. And then anybody ever ask you about, here, Leatherneck Magazine, because when you enlisted, you got it. You went to the family home. But anybody ever ask you about the history of Mark Jewelers, trust me, I can tell them inside and out. Mark Jewelers was a military thing. They put the inserts into things, distributed
They didn't just advertise in comics, huh?
PX. It's traveling for a budgie. There you go. They were Mark Jewelers made their nut off the military, which is why they only have. If you ever find a Mark Jewelers in a comic, it's because it came off military base.
Yep.
Now, a few things that were sitting on top that came to mind that to me are historically significant. I had a pick up not too long ago. Nice little postcard.
Okay.
Signed by Alan Bellman.
Oh, nice.
The Golden Age artist, Captain America there. That came from an estate sale.
Bellman died not many years ago. He was in his 90s.
Yeah.
He had moved to
Here's a
Florida, and he
letter.
took an interest in photography.
Here's a letter from the UN ambassador from Spain to a professor.
New York.
So basically, this is spy game stuff. So that's him. These are the guys that were dealing with the Bay of Pigs stuff. If you look up the insider story of the Bay of Pigs, you're going to find Pablo Labin's name. There's letters from the embassies, letters to him from Congress.
Where'd you get that stuff from?
UN stuff, letters from the Senate, more letters from the Senate. Dante Fashel. This covers over 20 years. Brent Friel, Nelson Rockefeller's right-hand man. Original letters. State Department stuff. Library of Congress stuff. VA stuff. Here's something you really don't see every day just because they didn't survive it. A daily itinerary from a warship during World War II. That this gent was stationed on, and they were actually in conflict. And that's a daily call sheet, just for who needs to be where and when. But right place, right time, and finding them, which those are all one thing from one estate. These are different, but you know, the first UN Assembly handbook. When the Brookhaven Institute opened, there's a letter from the head of the Brookhaven Institute in 1947. The Atomic Energy Commission, where that started. And again, just sitting on top of things. More State Department things. These, a little bit older. A couple things here I just love showing when they're around. Yeah, everybody hears about war bonds in World War II, but they did war bond drawings in World War I too. And then again in the not something you see every day department, Doughboys and Marines at the Champs-Elysees in Paris on VE Day. An original photograph to the point that I have the negative to it too. So that's a how do you do. And then back to where I had the Alan Bellman thing. Couple more things, and I'll stop with this silliness. Go with matches up good with the Alan Bellman. How about a signed Martin O'Dell card? Creator of Green Lantern, still an old screw down. And then something that's apparently rarer than a copy of Action Comics 1. A still intact 1940 Superman candy card. Superman. It's a redeemable coupon. Most of them got redeemed. So that's 1940. I think 65 of them are on the census for card that are graded. There's another one, so 66. And there's like 103 Action Comics 1s. And then my buddy JMD Mateus, because I'm going to drop that name a lot. He's coming back on our show at the end, in the 30th of this month. A little side project of his in 1990 when he cut a record, and he sent me a copy of it off his back shelf. We're talking to him and talking about mentioning his music and stuff, and he said, I got some copies of that up on the wall. I said, I've been trying to find one for years. He turned around and grabbed it and signed it to me. He goes, I'll throw it in the mail to you. So it's right off his shelf. That's one of my cool pieces, but I love JM. So.
All right.
Yeah. Now that's my momentary show and tell. Like I said, if you guys really want me to fish something else out, I will. But other than that, I'll just quietly hang out.
No problem. Let's just go for some more comments here. Rick P said the new characters, Horse Girl and the Undead Kid. Yeah, maybe the Undead Kid has potential, I think. Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't have any problem with them being new characters. I just had the problem with 3 short stories in one issue. That seemed strange to me.
Yeah. SBPT is here.
But it was well done.
And it's saying we are being drawn by Art Adams.
Now for your cool trampoline, that's the canvas.
Yeah. Calvin says that he only picked up one of the covers. His $6 friendship is more of a casual acquaintance.
You're not a completist. Neither is Wilson, apparently. He, if he doesn't get those other 2, he's fine. I got to put them all together in a row.
Kyle, SBPT is recommending that you need a cover to a Portuguese progressive rock album. I know what he's talking about. I'll send you a picture later on Facebook Messenger.
Okay. Did Oswald work alone, Kyle? No, Oswald did not work alone, if you're curious, but that's just my opinion. But I'm just an average smart nobody.
Yeah, Meyer Greenblatt is here. What's up, man?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just an average smuck nobody who on the little bookshelf next to him has this.
Nuclear Proliferation's Fact Book.
From the U.S. Senate. But Joint Committee print. But I am nobody.
The big pricing news this week is that Spawn is no longer $2.99. It is now $3.99. So the last of the $2.99 comics is no more. No, still only $2.99 on the back cover.
Still, it is cheaper than most Marvel comics.
Yeah. I'll still get it. I said I was going to drop it once I went to $4. So I was like, you know what? I'll still get it. Fun.
Yeah, you probably won't need the spin-offs.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any of the spin-offs, so that's fine. Something with his wife. He found out she's some villain and she's the head of hell and she's trying to trick him into doing something. You can take me off solo. So it's like it was a fun issue.
Is she the head of hell because she's Spawn's wife?
No. They had the like leading up to issue 250 was the big war to see who was going to be the king of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And she all of a sudden like showed up she was like the surprise contender at the end who won it. And then last issue, who was it? Mandarin Spawn, remember that? Was trying to get Spawn on his side to fight, I forget who, the vampires, I think it was. And then at the end, we found out Mandarin Spawn was really his wife. It's like, what, is this another version of his wife or something? Last we knew, she was ruling hell. In this issue, we flashed back to her ruling hell and saying, but I have a plan. So I still don't know if that's another version of her or the same version.
She has a plan. Is she Baldric from?
She's got a cunning plan.
Yes. Well, it's official. Jared is getting cut love checks. We're in Todd's pocket.
I'm in Todd's pocket.
Yeah, it's the only way you can afford $3.99 on a Spawn book is if he cuts you a check.
Yeah, the love checks. The love checks will keep us.
Yeah. Todd posted a picture of him and Frank Miller in some con. I wonder if he has to cut Frank Miller some love checks, because I think Frank came up with a Overkill, didn't he?
I don't remember. I just always thought that was a goofy name, Overkill.
Yeah.
It's like we want to call him Overkill, but there's already one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, Werewolf by Lunchtime says Todd lost his action figure license, so something has to go up. Which action figure license did he lose?
DC's.
DC's? I just saw a Batman toy. Must not be in effect yet. I saw an ad for his new Batman toy of some kind. But usually when you lose the license, that means you lose the license in 4 months. So.
Whoa. Yeah, he has it until 2026.
Speaking of friendship, look who's here. All black.
Oh, light. Maybe he's here. We'll have to see.
He's turning.
We'll have to see if he's here. On.
Yeah, the DC license went back to Mattel, but it doesn't go into effect until next year.
Yeah, because
so
usually
Todd has to the end of the year to finish off the run that he has.
Yeah, because usually these licenses, the toy manufacturing has got to be way ahead.
Yeah, you have to create molds and designs,
and it takes time for the factories to make things and ship things, so you can't lose the license tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Well, oops.
We almost have Chris.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
We can.
Now that you're speaking.
We can't see you.
Oh, whoops. He's gone.
He's gone. He's probably going to see if we can get his camera to work.
Werewolf by Lunchtime. Chris, ask Alexa to turn the lights on.
So when I picked up my books for Chris, it's funny because like when you first showed your books, they didn't connect yet.
Right.
And only one, which is the one that you showed, this one doesn't connect to any of them, but the previous ones that I have, these all do. These other 4 do connect to each other.
That's right. I didn't have the Hulk last week. Didn't have Asgard last week.
Mm-hmm.
Those are new this week. Back to Mattel. Must have something to do with the new Superman movie, says SBPT. Could.
It could. You never know. These things are, DC's making the decision on which one they want to go with.
The best of the Chris Geruso cover, the comic inside, was this issue of the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Issue 24. Let's see the cover first.
Yeah.
We got our H's.
Yes, I do have that one.
We got Hela there, Goliath.
Grey Gargoyle, Havoc.
Grey Gargoyle, Hercules.
Grandmaster.
Havoc.
Or the High Evolutionary. Who are those? Oh, that's wait, no. Who are those?
Oh,
the guy with the skeleton face is no, No, that's not Despair.
No, must be the brothers. Is it one of the brothers Grimm?
It looks like, if I had to guess, I'd say it's Despair.
It looks
Yeah,
like
Right.
Despair, but I
I don't know
think
if
you
the
might be
D's
right
are
about
in
the
here.
Brothers Grimm.
Yeah, but these are
Who's the guy with the
they-
ponytail?
That's Gar from the Deviants.
Ah, there's Hella.
Mhm.
Is that a moth?
Yeah, it's Gypsy
Gordo.
Moth.
Gypsy. Who's the
She was a Spider Woman villain.
Who's the gold woman?
Her, the female Adam Warlock.
Ah, okay.
Guardsman.
Gladiator, Glorian on the rainbow.
Yeah, and the Guardsman.
Goliath.
Graviton up ahead. Oh, the Gardener.
There's the Western Ghost Rider.
Yeah, and Howard the Duck. Chris is trying
Hawkeye.
to get back, but we still can't see you, Chris.
But this was the best comic of the four, I have to say. Who did this one? Blood Magic. Writer is Philip Kennedy Johnson. The artist is Kev Walker, and the art was terrific. Matthew Wilson, color artist. Corey Pettit, the letterer. And this was sort of like a simple, old-fashioned Hulk story, where Hulk and or Bruce Banner looks like teen. Is Bruce Banner a teenager again? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either. The artist draws him like he looks kind of like a young at least, and then there's this
supposed to be Amadeus Cho or something.
No, it's actually Bruce Banner. They call him Bruce Banner, but let me see if I can get a shot of him where. Oh, he looks a little old there. That's Bruce Banner with the long hair in the back.
Okay, so Kev. Well, it's still recognizable as Kev F. Walker, but the style changed a bit.
Yeah, but it was the storytelling was really good. The spotting of blacks was really good. Let me show you a nice Hulk. And it was a good old fashioned Hulk story. You can take me off a solo now. It was just kind of like, somebody thinks they have the Hulk trapped and they don't, and the Hulk kicks their ass. So it was that kind of, and I'm not sure who this other person is. Charlie, who's got some sort of magic, something that makes werewolves go after her. But yeah, nice. I liked this one best out of the four easily. It may have been the best out of the 8 too that I bought, the last 2 weeks.
Chris is still trying to get his camera to work. Okay.
Has he tried turning it on?
Here's something I noticed for the first time, because I haven't really been looking at comics. Have the alternate covers, because it says on it variant, credit the artist in the corner box these days?
I noticed they have with Chris.
Yeah.
Because this is like the subtitle of it is connecting variant. So I think with the connecting variants they credit the artist.
Okay, Chris left again.
So I think that way, if otherwise you might get the wrong connecting variant if they don't tell you it's Chris's. You might accidentally buy some other connecting variant. Sleepy says Jared is reading Marvel every week. Yeah. I got 4 weeks worth of Marvels I'm going to get because they all. There he is.
There he is.
Now we can see up his nose.
As if he had been drawn by Gil Kane.
So now every week, Tit Goblin is asking me, how much did your friendship with Chris G. Russo cost you this week? Cost me $18 this week and $18. And he disappeared.
And he's gone.
He disappeared again.
He's gone. Immediately. Finally gets on and then he's gone.
Okay, I can hear
there
you.
he is.
I can hear you now, but I think
Okay.
your audio is going to cut out in like 3 seconds,
Oh, okay.
and I won't be able to hear you. If that happens again, I give up.
Okay.
But I can still hear you now. I heard that okay.
That's good.
Heard you looking up my nose.
Well, I'm going to show the third Chris Geruso cover I got, which is the worst of the actual comics. Daredevil.
Ooh, I don't have that one.
This one came out this week. We got Daredevil. We got, what was that, Dazzler, Diablo, Doc Ock, Dr. Druid.
Yep.
Is that the Cobra
Crossfire.
back there?
That's Cobra and Crossfire.
Who's the guy in red?
Crossfire.
Crossfire.
He was the villain in the Hawkeye miniseries.
Who's the Cloud Woman?
One of the Power Pack.
Yeah.
Ah. And who's the ski? Is that the Black Racer, the skier?
No, that's Death Urge.
Death
He
Urge?
appeared. He appeared in a few Mark Grunwald comics, like Cloak and Dagger, Deathbird.
Who's the little floaty guy up top above Crimson Dynamo?
The Contemplator. He's one of the elders of the universe.
Oh, I never heard of him. Doc Samson over there.
He was in, I think, Quasar.
Who's the
So
woman
what
next
is
to
this
Doc
mimicked after the Marvel official Marvel guidebook?
Yes, that's what this is
Hannigan
Chris's
did.
version. He redid the official handbooks.
Yeah.
That must be Despair there.
I know that's Death.
That's Death?
Yeah.
Okay, who do we got down here?
Deathlock, Colossus, Crystal, Destiny, Corsair.
The Controller. He's really small.
Controller.
Who's the woman in blue who's from
The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Destiny.
Yeah.
Destiny.
Destiny, okay. Cool.
Okay, so Eric P says he got 7 of the 8 Chris Geruso books so far. He's also didn't get the Hulk. Sleepy Reader says those are really attractive covers. He's asking who did the
I
colors
think Chris
for the
did
covers.
the colors too, but he probably just did them same as the colors on the originals. You can take me off solo now.
That is correct.
Yep.
You want to see a couple more things while I'm up here before I camper off?
Sure. Cloud
Pedro says
Cloud from the New Defenders.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Chris, you're going viral tonight. All your covers, and when you're not around, all we are asking is why you're not around.
Thanks, guys.
So I've been bugged for about 30 years to release my likeness rights. I actually did it for this book. They made me a Homeland Security agent.
Hi.
Got it bookmarked with a Cheap Trick concert used pick. That's a good bookmark there. But since we were talking foreign books earlier, I had a stack of them right over here. Something you don't see every day. The Japanese version of McFarlane's Spider-Man run.
I wonder how many copies it sold in Japan.
So probably about 500,000.
Okay.
Little French.
Ooh, Super Pixel Géant.
Nice.
Nice big French
A nice
one.
big thick book too.
I've lost track of how many different countries if they're not on here. Argentina, Batman. I gotta mark these so I know what.
Whenever you have a French Disney comic, the most of the stories are usually made by French artists.
The Enemy, which I think is Yugoslavia. Batman Eternal from Mexico. All in Spanish on the inside. 74 Fantastic Four German.
Dr. Hunheil. No, I like the French version of Dr. Doom's name, Dr. Fatalis.
I think this one's Turkey, where the cover's in
I think I may have had that issue.
covers in English, but I think the interior is in Turkish. Trying to remember. I think this is from Poland. So that's in Polish. Just a couple more while we're here. French. And the original American one behind it.
No dolphins in there?
Norway. Letter Leopin. Batman 167.
Now, where did you get all these foreign editions?
Here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, okay. They're just something you kept your eye out for and got them when
I
you saw
have
them.
friends around the globe, and most
okay.
of them are gifts. I've been around the globe a bunch. Friends
Yep.
around the globe.
Italy
Italy.
production stopped long ago. Okay. Batman in Italian, yeah.
Nice Neil Adams Italian. I think that's Polish as well. D'Souza. I gotta look stuff up, but I just lose track of it. For the life of me, I can't remember. Maybe India.
Could be.
It's in there. It's on these things in places, but Belgium. I got to put it on the outside of things. I'm going to wait for the other one with that one. French.
That is Arab writing, says Pedro.
That's Portuguese. That Batman, that League, Justice League and Batman's from Portugal.
Yeah. Lavignon from Norway.
I don't think that's Arab writing. It does look more like Sanskrit, but I don't know.
German.
Mm-hmm.
And its American counterpart.
World's finest.
Here's a new one. Stallmannen.
Yeah.
World's Finest from 1950.
Nice.
8 November 1950. It's Scandinavian of some sorts. Speaking of Scandinavian. Conan.
Is Conan the same in all languages?
Yeah.
There have been some attempts at doing a different name, but they didn't stick.
Flippy Flank or Beetle Bailey to those that speak English. A 5-issue Israeli Popeye run.
Stallmannen is Swedish.
And again, for the life of me, it's a Telefure. I don't even remember what country that's from either. So
looks like it's Thai or Malaysian.
Yeah, but who knows? But those were just stacked over there, and we were talking about foreign comics. I thought, all right, well, I'll grab those real quick. There, ta-da! There's some stuff from my library.
Nice.
Hey, Kyle, are you familiar with this comic book series that was made by Stan Drake and Leonard Starr, but it came out in France? Kelly Green. And this album in particular is set in the San Diego Comic Con. But
Nice.
since Drake and Starr were part of the comic strip world, they are very much critical of superheroes, and they're always talking about comic strip artists.
I have to say, this issue of Daredevil,
like
I said, it was the worst of the four, and they killed me with the page turn. I don't know why they do ads, and because they had this nice sequence where Daredevil's having a nightmare, but he's Bullseye. It was really weird where you didn't realize this was Daredevil because it's Bullseye that's getting even. And then they get a page turn, and they have an ad on the page turn. And you miss out on the him waking up. And it's just it just drove me crazy. I'm sitting there going, why does Marvel try to ruin their comics with ads on the page turn? You can take me off solo. That's all I want to show.
Okay,
But,
rule of publishing: the ads go on the right,
exactly.
not on the left. Everybody knows that.
You ruin the page. They don't know that at Marvel anymore. But it's funny, in reading this, I could see all the people who are sort of love the comics of their childhood not liking this. Mm-hmm. Because the first, 5 or 6 pages were like pillow talk. Well, first we had the nightmare. Then we had a good 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of pillow talk between Matt Murdock and his current girl he's banging.
Well, I'm like, they're not at a coffee shop.
That's something that's just never occurred in the comics of our childhood here in the U.S. So I can see people who are still in love with the comics of their childhood not liking this at all.
Well, what do you think about G.I. Joe spending an entire issue in a coffee shop? That's happened.
Well, that's still chaste, And then it goes on. There's and then the other thing that annoyed me is there was another dose of micro-realism, which is what I call it in superhero comics, where all of a sudden you have a little bit of realism within an otherwise unrealistic, expected. The example I always give of that was, I think it was like the Ultimate X-Men. One of the Ultimate X-Men versus Ultimate Avengers, I think it was. And Nick Fury defeated Colossus, or stood down Colossus by threatening to shoot him in the eyes, saying, "Aha, I know your eyes have to be normal because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see." And it's like, well, if his skin wasn't normal, he wouldn't be able to live. And it's like an otherwise tiny little bit of realism in an unrealistic setting. Mm-hmm. And this, Daredevil is back in his Daredevil armor.
Yeah.
And see if you can guess the reason he's back in his Daredevil armor. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with laundry.
Well, that's the reason that Tony Stark is using the Silver Centurion on Avengers West Coast.
Because his other armor is in the laundry?
No, the other armor needs spare parts and he doesn't have the money for some reason.
Well, in this one, he's back in his armor, his old armor, because his regular suit got beat up a little, and so did one of his others. And his skin is so sensitive that no amount of detergent can get the blood out of the costume where he can't feel it. So his costume was irritatingly dirty, even though it was clean.
Oh boy.
I was just like, what? That makes no sense. Once again, micro-realism, a little tiny dose of realism.
You know who rotates the Batmobile's tires?
No.
Nobody rotates the Batmobile's tires. It's a Batman comic. Nobody rotates tires. And this is Daredevil. Nobody does laundry.
Nope.
It feels to me that there was a creator, whether it was the writer or the artist, going, I would love to get Daredevil back in the costume he was in when I read the comic.
Yeah, sure, but we can't do that.
Figure out a reason to do it.
No, but
let me read you the exact description. My usual outfit is ripped in a dozen places, and I can still smell death on it. My hypersensitive
smell it.
My hypersensitive skin can still feel The infinitesimally small bits of dried blood that washing couldn't remove. Ditto for the spare. But if I'm honest, that's not really why I brought the armor out of retirement. He needed a change. I'm like, well, then why did you tell us about that other part if you were lying to us?
I need a drink.
But
All right, so more important stuff. Chris, Werewolf by Lunchtime is asking how many hours a week do you spend drawing?
I spend no hours a week drawing Chris. I mean, I just never draw him.
It changes. It depends on what my projects are. I've never had a good answer for that. I could never tell you how many hours a week I spend. I don't know.
Give us a guesstimate.
Okay, between 1 and 20
hours a week. That's it.
What, are we supposed to guess? What will we win?
If you're drawing 1 hour a week, what are you doing the rest of the time?
Laundry.
To get the blood out of it, so for sensitive skin.
You know, emails, packing for trips, shopping for food.
Oh, that's right. You've been doing a lot of cons lately.
Laundry, coloring. Does coloring count as drawing?
I think so.
All right. Well, then,
how many cons have you done recently?
I went to Arizona. I did a library show and a store appearance a couple weeks ago. And then last weekend I was at South Carolina Con. So just 2 back-to-back, 2 weekends.
Just 2 back-to-back? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any coming up?
Next thing I'm doing is Free Comic Book Day in Fairfax, Virginia at the Amazing Comic Shop.
Okay.
The weekend after that, I'm doing the Gen X Toy Box pop-up toy show in Durham at the Durham Armory on Mother's Day. I'll be setting up there.
All right.
Then I'm doing Heroes Con. I'm doing Comic Con Nebraska.
What is that Durham show? John show?
Durham is May 8, 9.
Okay.
You've got a busy con season.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. And then Terrificon the weekend after Comic Con Nebraska. Those are both in August.
All right. Pedro says Larry Hama could do a masterpiece G.I. Joe issue in a coffee shop. I'm not sure I agree. Werewolf by Lunchtime. Bill Sienkiewicz, Househead for Power Man and Iron Fist was great. Modern ads are just annoying.
Well, they also shouldn't be on the page turn. And do what every indie comic does, Marvel and DC. Put the house ads in the back so you don't ruin the comic. I don't know why they're ruining their own comic.
Doesn't it come down to if they'll pay the money, then yeah, we'll put the ads.
No, they're all house ads. No one's paying them.
Oh, really?
I could see if there were ads from the outside.
Are they house ads like Marvel Comics house ads?
Yeah,
or
they're all Marvel Comics house ads.
Well,
there's no reason to have them in the middle of the comic. Except to drive customers away.
Sequentially, it says in the Marvel Universe Encyclopedia that Colossus can take gun blasts to the eyes.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, that's right. That was the Ultimate Universe was different.
Very
true.
Right,
Pedro Bosa says, look on the positive side. It's not the yellow costume.
There you go.
You know, I'd prefer if it was a yellow costume.
Well, I think his armor has a little yellow in it, doesn't it?
Great.
Let me see. I don't know. I've forgotten what it looks like, and I just had the book open.
Gray and metal.
Yeah, it's gray and red and blue-black. Mm-hmm. Because all that blue in comic book costumes was supposed to be black, apparently.
Mm-hmm. I remember. I remember when Busiek and Perez were doing the Avengers. They were trying at that time. Marvel was trying to do the dark gray highlights for black because the color palette was better now, and dark gray actually it mixes well with black in a way that that implies it's very that it is black, but it's not all inky.
Mm-hmm. Want to show us a comic you got, Wilson?
If we're still sticking to Chris's covers, I have 4 more of them.
Yeah,
He
that's the
has.
new one.
This is the
That's
Doctor
from this
Strange
week. I got that
Asgard,
one too.
right? Nice Galactus here on the back.
And the comic itself was pretty good. This one. Let me see who did it. The writer was Derek Landy. The artist was Carlos Magno. The color artist
from the inside.
Espen Grundichern, and Corey Pettit was the letterer.
The next one is Uncanny X-Men.
Yep, that's the one I just showed. X-Men, that's one from I showed last week, right?
Right. Last one that I have from this pile.
West Coast Avengers from last week also.
And so those are the ones that I took off the rack.
Oh, okay.
Then the next new book from it is Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay. I did not even see that one this week. I pre-ordered Godzilla versus Spider-Man, but that's the only one.
I was hoping to find a cover that there's the Godzilla versus the Thing, which was a cover to look like basically a boxing cover.
Okay.
The back one has what the X-Men are going to look like. And the Godzilla versus the Thing is a nice deep cut because that's when in the Godzilla movie, Godzilla versus the Thing is what they call Mothra in America.
Ah, okay.
So I thought it was just a neat cover. And on it, from simming through it, it must have took place in the past because the FF has their blue uniforms.
Can you, when you pre-order those, can you pick the cover? Or did you get that one off the shelf?
I pulled this off the shelf. But
okay.
On the website, when you're picking covers, you can pick the ones you want.
All right. Yeah, I ordered the Spider-Man one because it was drawn by Nick Bradshaw. It does not have a Chris Geruso cover.
Where is the credits page? Because that's what we play with Marvel books.
Yeah. Hunt for the credits page.
Oh, I couldn't find the credits page, but here are the other covers. This one's pretty neat because it's done in the style of the original Godzilla covers from Marvel. And then here's the one I was talking about, the
okay.
boxing one that I wanted to get.
It's like a boxing poster, sort of.
Yeah. But because it says Godzilla versus the Thing on it, that's what tickled my fancy about it. And also, it looks like the designs of the Godzilla are from various eras. So they're also picking and choosing what Godzilla looks like when he's fighting various characters. So I don't know if it's storytelling or it's just visually they're connecting Godzilla's of different eras. And I did find the credits page. Here you go. So it's designed with artwork from the original comics.
Oh, look at that.
The Herb Trimpe Godzilla books. I do like the design. So I'm wondering if they're using that design for every book. So, you know me, I love a crossover, so.
And you love a Godzilla crossover, especially.
And Godzilla ones makes it so much more fun. Let's see, what else is this? And then these are just catalogs from the free catalogs from the comics. So I haven't had time to look through these to see what they're adding to it. And it looks like they're doing another Justice League Godzilla Kong too. So they're really milking the 75th, I think it's 75th anniversary of Godzilla. He's appearing everywhere.
Yeah, he is.
Then this is the Marvel catalog. Those are the stuff from the shelf. Then
Okay.
the next group of books are the last 4 weeks of books that I haven't picked up.
All right, so the comic collector is here. How you doing, Tim?
Hello.
Hello.
We're all by lunchtime. Hands up. How many people here bought all 8 issues of New Universe when it came out?
I did not.
Are we talking about the original ones, or was there a relaunch recently?
It probably means New Universal when Warren Ellis tried to do a reboot of that thing, and then the comic ended because Ellis lost all the scripts in a computer computer drive crash.
Oh wow!
I remember being very confused at what that was supposed to be.
Yeah, so was I.
But I never bought it and read it.
Yeah, Sequential Geek tried watching the first 4 episodes of the new Daredevil show, and it is still slow.
I think I watched the first 4 episodes of the original Netflix show, and that was it.
So these are the books. Don't know which weeks they came out, but staying with the Godzilla thing, Godzilla Heist #1.
Yep. Number 1. You should have number 2 also.
I do have #2.
So you haven't been there in a month.
No, what it was for Godzilla Heist 1, I had missed it.
Oh, yeah,
so
to
I had
reorder
put it into my order because basically I just pretty much ordered it and had it put in with my pickup. I'm just checking out something here.
What is it? Did you get a first print of Godzilla Heist 1, or did they go back to press, I wonder? Because sometimes they can reorder it for you, the first print, and sometimes they can't.
As far as I could tell, this is first printing.
Okay.
So issue #1 was like, again, they didn't sell out. It was just that I didn't realize it was there.
Right.
So I didn't
that's right.
pick it
Because when
up.
I showed it off on that when it came out, you were like, "Oh, I didn't know about that one."
Right. So that night, I believe I went online, or while I was probably talking to you about it, I'm pretty sure I had ordered it and then made sure I put it onto my pull list. Power Rangers Prime, which is I think a new series. I mean issue 5, but I think this was the newer series that's going on with it. And staying kind of in the Japanese mood, Gotcha Man issue #8.
Have you read any of the Gotcha Mans yet?
I read the first issue, and that was it. But I enjoyed the first issue.
He's got 7 of them in the to be read pile now.
Yes.
And Pedro pre-ordered Godzilla Heist. Concept seemed quite cool. Yeah, I've liked Godzilla Heist. And I'm not a Godzilla fan, but I think IDW has been doing some interesting Godzilla comics, and that's one.
But you're becoming one. You got so many of the books.
Yeah. I'm definitely a fan of IDW's Godzilla comics, I have to say.
And I think this is the final issue of Amazing Spider-Man.
That's right. Issue 1 came out this week. I was like, what? They relaunched Spider-Man again?
Yeah, I had no idea they were doing a relaunch. So
neither did I.
Spider-Man is now the Juggernaut, at least in this issue.
At least for...
Most likely.
Did you pick up the new Amazing Spider-Man #1?
Let's see if it's in my pile.
The Crimson Bands of Spider-Rack.
It is. I do not have an issue 1.
Because
I'm wondering if I have to redo my subscription to. Oh no, this might be it. This might be it because it's the back cover.
Oh, okay.
Because when they pack their here's issue number 1.
All
When they
right. So
pack their books, sometimes the book is packed backwards because the
right.
barcode is here. So when we're checking out, they can
Yep.
scan it pretty well. So here's issue 1 of the new Spider-Man series. I think this is volume 7, maybe.
So they must have just transferred the old series over to the new one for you.
Because it's Legacy 965. So, we're almost close to 1,000 issues.
When they're going to turn it back to the old numbering.
Yep, exactly. So this is written by Joe Kelly. Artist is Pepe Larrazzi.
Larraz. All right.
Larraz. And let's see. Marte Garcia and Joe Caramanga is doing the lettering.
What legacy? What is the legacy number again?
This legacy number is 965.
65. So
in 35 issues,
That's 35 issues.
77, 80, 89. So this is the discussion we were having at my LCS this week. They probably want issue 1000 to come out in the summer.
Uh-huh.
Right now, like if they keep the monthly numbering up, it'll come out sometime in late winter. So will they have between now and then, will they have a summer of bi-weekly Spider-Man books so that they can have 1000 come out in the summer and therefore sell better?
Probably. Because
Yeah.
they've done the bi-weeklies before.
They've done the bi-weekly thing before. So you might be expecting to see some extra Spider-Man books. Usagi, the first issue of the new series.
Yeah, so I think I had marked it so I can have it come into my pull list, so I don't have to worry about grabbing it off the shelf.
Also with a legacy number?
Yes, 280 is the legacy number.
Yep. They're getting close to 300.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here's one that never changed the legacy number, so it's always the same number. Savage Dragon.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Issue 276. So they should be hitting 300 soon.
Well, at Eric Larson's current speed, it's going to take about 20 years.
It's still soon.
His speed all depends on if he decides to do other comic projects. Sequential Geek says Amazing Spider-Man 1000 is when they will officially transition.
Hold on, I'm like 10 minutes. I'm like 10 minutes behind on comments. Let me go back. So, all right.
No more pages inside. Only covers.
Yeah.
Sequential Geek got the first issue of Transformers.
It's Transformers issue number 19.
That robot is not in disguise. Look at that. It looks just like a robot.
Hey, Sharticons. They're so annoying, Sharticons, and dangerous.
Here's a question. Do the Transformers actually transform in the comic book? I don't know. Are they always in robot form?
No, they do the transformation, because I've seen Optimus Prime as a truck in the comic.
Would the government try and prevent the Transformers from racing, like at the Indy 500 or something?
Well, none of the Transformers are an Indy 500 car. One is a 1980 Formula One car. One is a 1976 World Sports Car Championship Porsche. One is a 1979 Giro d'Italia Lancia.
Megatron is a tank.
Well, that's something useful to transform into. If they're transforming into like a 1980s phone handset.
I want to see a Transformers school bus.
Nah.
I think there's a GoBot school bus.
It's possible. Another issue of G.I. Joe. Cannot tell you anything about it, because I have yet to read them. But that's Destro.
Issue 5, and he hasn't read issue 1 yet. What happened to that Saturday you were going to sit down and read all your comics?
It hasn't happened yet. I've been drawing Transformers for this whole, I don't even know what to call it, a season. So I'm almost done with the last few things I got to finish off.
Sketch cards?
Yes. Absolute Batman.
All In.
Issue number 6.
What is All In? I forgot to ask that at my comic shop this week.
I
That
think
showed
that's
up on a
just
bunch of DC ones.
Yeah, I think that's just whatever the marketing thing currently is, because they had the 52 for a while was also not only the the storyline kind of a thing, but
Right.
I think that's the just the advertisement lingo, so to speak.
Werewolf by Lunchtime asks, did Larry Hama retire? He's still doing the other
Okay.
series.
Jared, I'm like 15 minutes behind on comments, and I have to read them. Okay.
Okay, I won't read them anymore. Woo. It was pertinent.
And the last book in the pile is another all-in DC comic book, Superman.
A war on two fronts.
What's with the anime coloring?
Because it's inspired by the anime art. That's there is anime.
I want inking back.
Well, if you want to control DC, you're gonna have to buy Warner Brothers.
Well, if Discovery keeps losing money, sure.
And those are the books that for the last 4 weeks.
All right. Now we'll let Paolo get caught up on the comments.
All right. So, Sequential Geeks complained that the first issue was too decompressed. They did use that story not to put Starbrand and Nightmask in the main universe, but it was an inspiration for it because it wasn't Alice doing it. Yeah, first 62 issues. Yeah, because Werewolf meant from 86, so it's not 8 issues. It was 8 series that he meant.
Hold on,
so series from 86. So I bought a good chunk of them, if not all of them. I did not stay with it after I think after they blew up Pittsburgh. I kind of went away from that series. And then they did a mini series called The Pit, and that was in a prestige format. And I think around that time is where I dropped it.
Yeah. Pedro Bosa
you didn't want to pay extra for the new universe?
Did they bring it back with the fish that saved Pittsburgh? And are any of you guys even old enough to know what the hell that movie was?
I didn't hear what you said about Pittsburgh.
So, did they bring it back with the fish that saved Pittsburgh?
Ah, the fish that saved. Yeah, I remember that movie. I'm old enough.
Amazing Spider-Man 1000 was when they will officially transition to being only covers. Yeah, no pages inside anymore. Exactly. It'll probably be volume 12 by then. Jake Smith's art on Godzilla War for Humanity is pretty outstandingly fun, says Sequential Geek.
It got a little unstructured for me in issue 2, his art, but it's still good. I'm still enjoying it. There's a couple places I went. He looks like he needs a little more time on this page.
Did Larry Hama retire? I haven't heard, but it's probably not writing too much.
He is writing the other G.I. Joe series. They've continued his past issue 300, so he is still writing.
Yeah, when do we get Transformers? When do we get Transformers versus Godzilla?
Probably eventually.
Yeah, sooner or later.
Exactly.
As soon as Robert Kirkman decides to license Godzilla 2, along with every other comic book company.
Werewolf wants C-3PO versus Godzilla. You can talk to Godzilla to sleep.
A robot who can barely move his arms.
We doomed. There's also going to be a series of Transformers Omnibuy.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. Those giant ones. I think that they're going to be My LCS got in from Kickstarter. The same. They look like the same sort of thing from GI Joe. This really fancy box set, and I think it's along the same lines as I think Kirkman makes these really fancy box sets for Transformers and GI, and now Transformers too. So, but they're expensive.
You said omni-buy? It's not an omnibus. Is there
There's
another
two of them.
format?
There's
Okay.
two of them. Oh,
It's
look
four.
at that.
Balloons.
Because
Balloons, I say too.
they're reprinting the original Marvel UK stories as well.
Oh, okay.
The GI Joe, I think, was at least 3 volumes in a box set, and like one was a Cobra box and one was a GI Joe box. It was like $200 or $300. Not cheap, and I think that's I don't think they're offering it anywhere else but Kickstarter. It was on.
Yeah. I imagine in order to reprint all of the US and UK stories in one book, it's going to have to be 1,500 pages at least.
Right.
Oh, by the way, the Ditko stuff, though they're doing an Indiegogo for it, I think they're also going to get it into comic shops. So I'll get it when it goes into comic shops.
Okay, so
I don't want to pay shipping.
You're right. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Well, but the Transformers Kickstarter is going well. Already over 5,000 backers.
Oh yeah.
Past the original goal was $40,000. It's almost $2.5 million.
Yeah, they set that goal low. That's what you do when you get I'm told that's what you do when you get a Kickstarter these days with something like Transformers. I mean, not something that you or I decide to kickstart. You set the goal really low. That way, right away it fulfills, and you get news out of it fulfilling and stuff.
All right. So Compendium 1 will be the first 46 issues of Transformers plus the Headmasters miniseries. And Volume 2 is 47 to 80 plus the movie adaptation plus the 12 G2 comics. And the UK compendiums, they have the original stories only. So from everything new from issue 9 to 145 plus Action Force 24 to 27, and the second one, anything that they publish between 146 and 289.
What's the price?
Well, it's not individual, so let me see.
No, for the book, or is it both books or one book? Is that?
It's hard to tell. Doesn't.
Sometimes there's so much crap in there, you don't know which one.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Jesus.
And now that so many Kickstarter people got not the people who run the Kickstarters got so burned on shipping that now the shipping is a cost that's extra later on, and the customer can get burned on. Like when I paid $20 to have that card game shipped.
$60 gets you the digital PDFs.
Wow.
Okay. Finally, for the books, for actual books, the minimum is 150 for the US compendiums.
Is that 2 books or 1 book?
2 books.
Okay.
So it's not bad.
Yeah, $75 a book isn't bad.
Yeah. It's like
I still wouldn't want to. I wonder how much shipping is going to be.
Yeah. So yeah, this is gonna be about a little bit over 1,000 pages, I think. Yeah. So yeah, 75 books for 1,000 pages is not bad. For $300, you get the 4 compendiums.
You mean doubles?
Okay. No, the US and the UK's.
Oh. Okay, so there's 4 compendiums total.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you have extra goodies on that one. There's a $900 tier. Yeah, there are 2 $900 tiers. This can be expensive, yeah.
Yeah, if you're spending that much, the shipping better be free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be the first complete UK Transformers reprint outside the United Kingdom. Yeah, that's right. Even Titan didn't do it. Titan did the main stories that Simon Furman wrote, and then a few other things.
That does make it quite attractive because I never really got to read any of the overseas Transformers stuff.
$100 for 4 books in Europe. I'm not sure it's going to be $100 for 40 books in Europe. If it's 150 for 2. The difference between a YouTube channel Shell's vanity project and the real deal sequential artist. No variant covers, no whatnot or crowdfunding promo begging for money.
Hey, even if you're a real deal sequential artist, you still got to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still the whole marketing aspect alone. You gotta let people know what
People
you're
don't
working
know
on,
about it; they can't buy
where
it.
to get it. Yeah, no.
I hung on as long as I could. I got to check
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
All
No
right.
problem.
All right,
Thanks for letting me come hang out with
Get
you
you
for a little
next
while.
time.
No problem. Thanks
good
for coming,
seeing you.
Kyle.
All right, good to see you guys.
Okay. I'll check you later.
Yeah, because if
Right.
no one knows your book exists, then you got to do whatever you
Yeah.
can to like get it out there. Like this issue of Team Kaiju, which is one of my books that's only available to be found on the internet, and you could pick it up on my eBay page, Ramos Comics,
There
and any
you
other of
go.
my Section 8 comic books. And this one is actually the limited edition one because somehow an extra S got printed on the text. That's why you need an editor.
Yeah, I blame the production guy.
Yes. Yes, because the production guy should not be responsible for spelling.
Here's a one-shot
No.
comic.
According to my editor, everyone is responsible for spelling.
Here's a
Which is
one-shot
probably a
comic
good
I got
idea.
this week.
Who publishes that?
By what's his name, Patrick Morvath, who is the guy
Morvath.
who did Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. I
That's a
picked it up
H.
because he was doing it, and it's this. It's like 50 pages, and it's this big. You can take me off solo. It's sort of this the high concept story behind it, which is really kind of pointless, is about how in the future, part of the future government is that if you make a certain amount of money, like 500 million or $1 billion, they can tax you half of it, or you have to fight in an arena to the death to defend your money. I guess
That makes
that's,
absolutely no sense.
you're right, it makes absolutely no sense. And it was really an excuse to make these fun, bloody arena battles.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it ended up like the final bloody arena battle was between this ex-husband and ex-wife. And they kind of made their money together and they got married, and the husband cheated the wife out of all her money. And so she left the marriage with nothing and then built up her business again to make all this money just so she could go in that arena and take out her husband, who was like the 25-time champion in this arena. So it's like the social aspect of it was really kind of pointless, except to set up this angry marriage battle with super weapons.
Beneath the Trees was everywhere on the last Angoulême festival. So Pedro goes to Angoulême every year.
Ah,
He didn't buy it
it's a
because it wasn't
good.
in English.
Yeah, Beneath the Trees is really good stuff. This was fun too. It just kind of didn't live up to the social aspect of it.
Is Beneath the Trees any good? Werewolf bought it when he was moving house and forgot he had it.
Yes, it is good. A nice serial killer story starring some very pleasant looking anthropomorphic animals. Oni Press. I wonder if I have to look for Carl's name in this again because I didn't before. Da-da-da-da. Nope, edited by Megan Brown. Carl did not edit this one.
Speaking of people you worked with at Marvel, is Marie Jevons still at DC?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's
Was it
still
her
there.
idea to do the Harley fart comic?
I think so. I saw something on her page where she said she got to do a project she always wanted to do, and I think it was Scratch and Sniff. I didn't really read it that closely, but that's the gist I got.
Yeah, it was advertised all around
Yeah.
as the Harley fart comic.
Right.
There's a lot of
I think that
it's not even fart jokes. It's actual fart porn.
you know, I would see. I haven't seen it on Final Order Cutoff, so I don't know where that. I remember saying, would I buy something like that? Because I occasionally buy those gimmick covers, to put in my pile of gimmick covers that I sometimes show my students too. But I'm like Scratch and Sniff is like a gimmick that you can't really like as a customer. If you actually use it, it goes away. It's not like a hologram which you can pick up and look at all the time, or
Right.
what. It's in order to get the joke, you have to actually scratch and sniff it, and you can only scratch and sniff it for a short period of time. So it's kind of like, to me, it's not. I'm like, just because I kind of like archiving gimmick covers, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
And for the collectors, it's useless because it's not a 9.8 anymore.
Oh yeah, because I would assume it comes polybagged.
Yeah,
because that's
I would think so.
That's what we did with the Ren and Stimpy one. That was supposed to smell like kitty litter.
Ah, okay.
And Beavis and Butthead, we didn't do a comic. There was a card set that was Scratch and Sniff.
Like, Scratch and Sniff is really an ephemeral thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's not like a collector thing as much as it's an ephemeral fun thing.
Do you have any Scratch and Sniff stickers from the 80s?
No, I don't.
Chris,
so you don't know.
Oh, I know, because I've had plenty of Scratch and Sniff stuff, and it wore out in a week.
Chris, Werewolf is asking, who was your favorite Marvel artist in the 80s?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, question for Chris, it says.
I wasn't aware enough to have had one. To me, it was just Marvel is making these books, or DC, the Marvel and DC are making these books.
Who was the first Marvel artist you became aware of that became a favorite?
I guess Jim Lee, probably.
Jim Lee?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you first see him? What stuff? Punisher or X-Men?
X-Men.
X-Men. Okay.
Pretty late in the game. I completely missed McFarlane and Larson on Spider-Man. I totally missed it. I didn't see any of it until after Image.
Okay.
Sequential Geek, Scratch and Sniff, Pepe Le Pew versus King Kong. That would be a nasty smelling book.
Le Pew. Pepe Le Pew. Oh, I have to point. I read this book this week.
Wait, no. Scratch and Sniff, Pepe Le Pew versus Fay Ray. Because now it makes more sense.
If you remember, this is one that I got at Mocha Fest by John Allen, who was at the table right next to me. So I'm like, Top Shelf publishes it. One of these that looks like a kid's book, but it's not. It's an adult book. How long is it? 700 pages, but you can really chop that in half because each two pages is really one regular comic page. But still long and really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. You can take me off solo now.
Why did he pick that format? Or is that
I don't know.
reprinting something that he did before?
Top Shelf does that, I noticed. Top Shelf does a lot like Blankets was that. I think they like big, heavy, chunky books, is all I can figure out. The weight of it makes it kind of more important. So, like your casual fan is going to be more impressed by something like this than your standard trade paperback. That's all I can think. It's a marketing thing.
Right. Okay.
Because I've wondered that too but like books like this became like really hot when Blankets came out, which was like, I don't know, when was that? The mid-aughts? But this one it's mostly like the beginning of it is kind of a coming of age. The lead character is a young woman. She's 24. She's still dating her high school boyfriend who is in a punk band or a death metal band, I forget which. Who she breaks up with near the beginning too when he goes on tour. She's living with her parents. Until she decides she's going to stay with her at her boyfriend's crappy apartment while he goes off on tour for a month. And
The
she
art
gets a new job, and it's mostly about her life for like the first half of it. Then weird horror science fiction elements happen in like the last third, but it was really well done. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It says, what's the
The
description on back?
the art reminds me of that guy who did indie comics in the 2000s. What was his name? He had some kind of elf boy. I can't remember his name.
I'm picturing the art, but I cannot picture the name.
Man, I can't believe I forgot it because I think I have his book. One of his books around. Let me
Yeah,
go check.
the style is familiar. It's sort of a underground
Combination of
papers
a
in the
few things.
90s Disney style. Let's see. Veronica is 24 and tired of her
James
crummy boyfriend, of living
James
with her parents.
Kachalka. It kind
What
of
was that?
reminds me of it kind of reminds me of James Kachalka.
Okay. Of feeling stalled out when everyone else moved on. With a new job coding software for a wellness company that makes brain boosting energy drinks, she finally has a chance to turn things around. At this rate, Veronica may never feel tired again. But as she gets more comfortable with the office and the people in it, Veronica stumbles upon surprises in the dark that leave her questioning everything she thought she knew about the world and about herself. Listen, really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I can see myself reading it again. That's really my judgment if I like a comic or not. Can I picture myself reading it again? Yeah, Frankie
Frankie
Ray,
Ray.
because she has to wear that bodysuit all the time.
Yeah.
LOL. Huh. Books
What's
that
that?
chunky made me not buy them.
Yeah.
The older I
Yeah.
get, the more I buy out of actual reading comfort. That just reminded me. Wasn't the guy you just mentioned? Wasn't Chunky Rice his book?
Super Fucker. Was it? I can't remember. He did Super Fuckers.
But Chunky Rice was another big book like this, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'll check. How do you spell odds? Not
I
like
spell
that.
it Aughts, but that's pretty good right there. I like that.
With the double O's.
Yeah.
Double O odds.
I may change to that spelling.
Those years were License to Kill. What was the name you said about of that series?
Chunky Rice?
Right. Goodbye Chunky Rice from Ben. Yeah, Top Shelf. That might have been that's Craig Thompson.
Okay, Craig Tom, who also has Blankets, so.
Yeah. James Kachalka.
What did he do? I know that name.
Okay, so he did a Hulk 4-pager in a Hulk annual. He did Super Fuckers at Top Shelf. What else? Magic Boy and the Word of God. That was a one shot. Morisukin. Oh, that's a. Oh, he did. Yeah, he did an American Elf story. This is an anthology from NBM. Johnny Boo and the Pumpkin Tiger. This was 2016.
Huh.
Kind of looks like a kid's comic, but this was a promo. Hold on. Halloween Comic Fest. So I don't know if it's actually meant to be a Paradise Sucks. Yeah, that's what I have the Portuguese edition of. Monkey versus Robot.
That's the one I know him from. Monkey versus Robot.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I had to draw those cards for the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, and they had a sketch card set, and he was like one of the approved indies because the whole set was about indie creators. And it's like, oh, these are the ones you were allowed to use, and that was like the first time I heard about that comic book. It was like, you got to draw these, and it's like, who are these?
Werewolf bought the history of EC Comics and had to buy a desk to put it on just so he could read it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, some books are just too unwieldy.
Here's the one I never take out. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it. Holy cow. Oh. This one right here.
Oh.
Wow.
18 pounds. Holy cow. I got it at a discount.
You should use that thing to iron pants.
It should come with its own legs and become a table.
like that thing on Seinfeld that
Yeah, the
Kramer
coffee
came up
table
with.
book about coffee tables, and it turns into a coffee table.
Yeah.
I should use it to press comics.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's the biggest one I remember getting. I was like, holy! I actually weighed it when I got it home. I was like, holy cow, this is heavy. 18 pounds.
Is that the biggest book you have?
I think so. At least the big, like some of those artist editions have physically bigger dimensions, but they're not
Right.
they're not as thick and they're not 18 pounds.
Yeah, I have nothing that heavy.
King size Kirby. I think they made a king size Ditko like that too. But I can't look at it. I can barely take it out.
Yeah. That's one of those that you have to have it on its own table and like
It's
turn
one
a
of those
page
library
a day.
stands that you put Bibles on. Put
Yeah,
300-year-old Bibles on.
pretty much, and then just turn a page a day.
Yeah.
And 1,000 pages is going to take you 3 years to read that book.
So what are you working on tonight, Chris?
Commission. Sketch cover.
Ah,
I probably showed you this before. This has
the
been going very
Champions. I don't remember it. If you did,
it's been going very slow. Sketch cover.
Sometimes it takes a while. Is that the original printing of the Champions, or a new one?
It looks like original print.
25 cents. There we go. That's the original.
Nice.
For the French edition, they had to remove Ghost Rider.
And put a dolphin in it?
Too scary for France?
Yeah.
Replace them with a dolphin?
With anything, or just remove them entirely?
They removed him entirely. There's a cover where he's running away from Swarm, and they they turned him into regular Johnny Blaze.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
Werewolf carried the complete Calvin and Hobbes homes from the post office. This is why.
Yeah, those were big ones.
Yeah.
I remember looking at them going, "Wow."
What's the smallest book you have?
I don't know. I've got some small ones.
Oh man, I wish I could. I wish I had kept them because I think I threw them out when I was a teenager. They were really small. They were like smaller than a box of matches, and they came in a cereal box. And they were the mascot of a Nestle cereal.
I didn't have any of the Marvel ones, but I remember getting some of those really small books out of a gumball machine.
Yeah, I remember getting the Marvel ones when I was a kid, but
Yeah, I
never
never had the
keeping
Marvel.
those, And other than that, as far as like any small books I have would be like inserts with
From
I have a
cereal
set
boxes.
of that came with a bubble gum. So you would buy like the booklet would be Archie, uh, Archie, Captain America, Hulk, Spider Woman, Spider Man. So they would
Small,
be like this big.
smallest book I have is Mini Marvels by Chris Russo. See, how big is this one? 5 inches by 8 inches almost. That's a pretty small one. He was asking us, what's the smallest book you have? This is among the smallest books I have, I think. 5 by 8. That's normal small.
All right. So these originally came with a gum. So this is the smallest book
Boy,
size I believe I have.
All right.
here we go.
And I should have. I mean, they're all been open because they took out the bubble gum. But let me pull the book out.
I've got a 4-inch by 5-inch Robert Mapplethorpe book. I wonder where I got this. I don't even know.
I bought these on eBay.
And then here's my most disappointing small book. Let's see. This is 4 inches by 4.5 inches. And it's Wonder Woman covers. And I really thought this was full size when I ordered it.
Oh.
And it showed up at this size, and I was like, oh, wah, wah, wah.
Why is Gloria Steinem mentioned on the cover?
Introduction by Gloria Steinem.
Oh, Jesus.
When did it come out? 95. Because Gloria Steinem is linked to Wonder Woman because of Ms. Magazine. Because Wonder Woman appeared on, I think, the very first issue of Ms. Magazine. And I think Gloria Steinem was one of the people who got depowered Wonder Woman back to powered Wonder Woman. If memory serves. I don't know if that's just apocryphal or not. That
So
she was
these
one of
are
the people.
baseball card
Pocketbooks.
size. So it's 2.5 by 3.5.
Oh,
So I got
those are
Spider-Man, Archie,
Slightly bigger.
Sabrina, Captain America,
Oh, those are tiny.
and the Hulk.
What
And
did
then
they
the
come in?
So these came in a pack of gums called Bubble Funny.
Ah.
So they would sell the comic book, and then the gum would be in like within these pages. So then the rest of the book was here. So the back they had these blank areas. So when I saw these, I bought them because I always thought it would be kind of cool to like basically, so we have a Spider-Man. I would draw a Spider-Man image on there, and then sell the book like that. It was one of the concepts that I had about, ooh, what be neat to do, kind of a thing. So when I got these, they still have the gum was taken out at some point, obviously. So the gum was taken out, but I just kept it in the baggie it came in, and then the bag is shrink wrapped and it is held like that. The only other books that I would have that are smaller than these would be the ones that were Marvel made that came with, I think the Drake's cakes. No, the Drake cakes were just as big as these, maybe even bigger. There was also a set of comic books that were like the size of a. I think they came with the Jiffy peanut butter containers, and they would be attached on the top of the container. So it would be a round comic book that you would open up, but I'm not sure what container I currently have those in. And the only thing I know about those is that when Marvel was putting them together, I was looking at the printing process, and if you're putting a comic book with something that is considered food, everything on that all the ink that's printed is supposed to be edible. So if it comes with a food item, at least at that point in time in the 90s, you were supposed to be able to you could basically eat the comic book because it was something that was packaged with food. You're not intended to eat it, but it was kind of like that. And those are probably the smallest ones that I have, but I don't know where those are right now.
Right. Pedro has some Monica's Gang promotional comics, which are slightly bigger than a postal stamp. So they would be,
Wow.
yeah, the size. Monica's Gang is a Brazilian comic, has a whole franchise around it. Werewolf has a Asterix and the Goths Digest, but he can't read it because the text is too small. Yeah, exactly. Is European comic shrink to digest size? It just doesn't work. But at least it's Asterix. It would be much smaller if it was a Blake and Mortimer book. Nobody would be able to read it.
That also reminds me too. Bad Idea printed a comic book 1 inch by 1.5 inches. I never got a copy of it. I just had to set the whole thing up. Boy, was that a pain in the neck.
Sequential Geek found a Marvel Digest smaller size comic like that one you showed, but it was at the Dollar Tree about 15 years ago, reprinting Spider-Man stories. Ted Goblin asks if you played the Robert Mapplethorpe Sega CD game.
No, I never have.
And Meyer has a Terry and the Pirates J.C. Penney giveaway from 1938, 3 by 4 inches. But it's more like a big little book than a proper comic.
Yeah, I do have one of those pocket books that were the Spider-Man one that was in that kind of vein where it's like almost like a square book. But it was still bigger than this. But that was probably my smallest book. But it's not really a comic book because on one side it's just prose, and then the other side would be an illustration with Spider-Man doing something.
Can you believe this binding is falling apart? Who'd believe it?
Well, of course.
I'm looking for the one cover that I thought it was in here. There's an old Wonder Woman cover that I love that I always wanted to get the issue for, but I think I made a printout of the cover. It's the one where she's up against the wall with a spotlight on her. I don't know if you know that cover. Let me see if I can find my printout over in my bought only for the.
And then there was a set of books for a few years that looked like what they did was they would make a regular comic book and then cut it so it would just really go across. And I have like an old Mickey Mouse one, so it would be like the length of a comic book, but only be about 3 inches or so.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the books for a while that would be coming with like various promotional boxes stuff. So and I do have a Mickey Mouse one. but I haven't seen that in ages. I have no idea where I placed that.
Yeah, a bunch of countries used to do horizontal comics because they would they would reprint comic strips,
Yes.
but they would just reprint like one per page.
Yeah, I think they probably were now thinking about the Mickey Mouse because I think I also had one or two of the Terry Toons ones as well, and they look like they might have been comic strips just put into that kind of a format.
Well, Marvel did Terry Toons comics, but they were original stories.
Yes.
Here it is. This isn't the actual cover, but a printout of it. But I've always liked this cut. This is sort of a classic Wonder Woman cover
Mm-hmm.
by who did this? Ross Andrew and was it Esposito he always worked with in this Wonder Woman
Yeah.
comic? So I
Ooh,
think this is Andrew and Esposito.
I wonder if that's what inspired Byrne to do that X-Men Days of Future Past cover.
Ah,
Very similar to that. And then
yeah.
so many people recreated that, the Days of Future Past cover, but this might be the original
Right, the whole
inspiration
standing in
for it.
front of your own wanted poster thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wonder Woman 108. Good stuff. What?
I wonder if you could find original art to it.
I know somebody's. I forget which. I was looking for it on the web one day, and I forget some artist recreated it for themselves. So I was like, oh, look at that. I thought it was in this book, but it isn't. I don't
There's
see it.
again. All right, now we can hear you.
I hear ya. Wanted. It looks like I have the comic, but I don't.
And Chris apparently can hear us, but he can't.
He's off, he's on, he's off, he's on.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Verizon coverage.
Let's see. One of the last two comics I got this week is Jump Scare number 2, which was very good. I enjoyed it. This is the character. Some nice art too. Who does this? Danny Luckert. Colin Bunn is writing it. Danny Luckert is drawing it. This takes place in a world where there was like an invasion of aliens or elder gods or something, and the superheroes fought them off. You can take me all solo. And
you should say that in the voice of that guy from the movie trailers. In a world
where aliens or elder gods or something, the superheroes drove them off, but there's some still hanging around, and some people got like residual superpowers from them. So this girl got powers where she's got strength and healing and stuff like that, but she can also manifest weapons from horror movies. So and of course the horror movies I think are all made up in that world. And the reason she's called Jump Scare, she has sort of short range teleporting, so she can jump scare you. She's fighting monsters. It's pretty good stuff. It's a lot of fun. The art is terrific. Once again, being that it's a modern comic, I have no idea if it's continuing or a miniseries or what. From Dark Horse, does Dark Horse have any continuing series? Usagi, but they're all miniseries.
They have no miniseries unless they end as like a miniseries. I think that's how you're supposed to look at them. Dark Horse was probably the first not to market miniseries as such.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think they have a single continuing series. They've got series of miniseries, like Minor Threats, I think, is a series of miniseries. What was that other one? The Ooh, I can't remember who the writer, but they do that was like Silver Age like comics. So are most of these newer comics you were showing originally from crowdfunding campaigns? Like Jump Scare isn't. I don't think Free for All was. I don't think I have gotten stuff like that in the past, but I don't think I got anything this week. I think last week I had one or two that were, but Jump Scare is a regular Dark Horse book, and Free for All is a regular Oni Press book. I think I don't think Oni Press kickstarts things, so I'm not sure. Let's check the copyright date. Sometimes that gives it away. It was this year's copyright date, March 2025. So no, I don't think this was kickstarted. Printed in Canada. I have not seen Bacillus Lolos. I'm not sure who that is. I tend to stay away from Kickstarter except for digital stuff, just because it's so expensive.
But you can buy the PDF, and if you like it, by the time that you can order it, it's probably in an Etsy store somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I do. I buy the digital stuff. Matter of fact, just this week I got my digital copy of Terry Moore's covers, which is a collection of all the Strangers in Paradise covers. I think that was a pretty expensive digital copy too. It was like $15.
Pirates of Coney Island.
Pirates of Coney Island. Okay. Did what's his name who did Cursed Pirates Girl have a new book out, or was that? I think he just got like, I don't know if it was new or a collection from Boom. Do you know Cursed
I haven't seen
Pirate
anything
Girl?
about it. I'm not familiar with the book.
He does these really intricate drawings. That take him forever. So I think he was hot on YouTube like a decade ago. And I think he had like an issue out like 2 years ago. And I think Boom may have just published a collection of it, but I'm not 100% sure. Jeremy Bastian? Okay. Did you notice Sequential Geek, a new book from him out?
If your house was burning down, which book would you kick back into the fire?
Kick back into all of it. Let it all go.
I'm
Start
free.
a new slate.
I can see Wilson running from the fire, shouting, "I'm free! I'm free!"
Yeah, let it all burn down and claim the insurance money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll get
that's
more
if I
money
was
from that
smart
than trying
enough
to sell it.
to get insurance on it.
Nope, there's a new book from Alice Lolos. Okay.
No, be on the lookout.
Good. Let's see. The last book I got was just okay. Golden Rage.
Purple cover.
Every year without a headstone is a milestone. And what's interesting is I believe this is an all-female creative team, from the writer to the letterer, which you don't see that often. I mean, of course, you see plenty of female creators in comics these days, but words are Chrissy Williams, art is Lauren Knight, colors Sophie Dodgson, and the Becca Carey on letters and design. But the flats were done by somebody named Shane, Shayne, Hanakui. I don't know if that's male or female, but the art was not. It's this weird story. Oh, hold on. We'll give you the description in the beginning. I think there's one. Chapter 1, Silencio. Old women have been deemed useless to society and are abandoned on an island where they must fight to the death and make friends and desert. The mainland plans to liquidate their island, leaving our bold old women to prepare for the onslaught to come. Welcome to Golden Rage. 5-issue mini. You can take me off solo. I thought the first issue was okay, but not enough for me to buy 4 more issues. Part 1 of 5, Mother Knows Best.
The new book by Vasilis Lolos is He Punk and the Bastards of the Universe.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Doesn't it? Well, apart from life, no. I'm not burning down the amazing artwork that you can find inside X-Force number 4, with the amazing coloring by Brian Murray, an artist that you never get to hear from again.
I would probably kick back all the stuff I've been giving away to my students, but I haven't given them some good stuff. So, but I did bring down the student I was going to give it to wasn't there, so it's still at school. Brigade. Speaking of Rob Liefeld, like 10 issues of Brigade. Do you remember that one? It was not by Rob Liefeld, but it was by Extreme Studios.
So Chap-Peep and then Panosian.
Jeff,
that first issue of Brigade. I know I do.
The first time I figured out that I had already figured out that GCD was a scam, but the first time that I noticed that people were willing to go along with the scam that is the GCD was when I saw a guy on Twitter selling Brigade number 2 for $89, slabbed for $89.
Yeah. Brigade number 2.
50 cents for the comic, 88.50 for the slab.
I did also give away my copies of Green Arrow Longbow Hunter. Just because I haven't looked at them since the 80s. I'm like, that's like I usually give those away to some of my former students who were in my friend Ed's class too. And he's like, "Oh, you're giving those away?" I'm like, "I haven't looked at them since 1988. I can pass them on." And that's probably still in print too, right? Green Arrow Longbow Hunter.
Did you look at it one more time before you handed it off?
I didn't even glance at them. I did not even open them up to glance at them. That means I should just pass them on to someone else. She was glad to have them. Because to her, they're cool old comics. And by the way, I've been giving stuff away all this semester and last semester. I haven't even made a dent. If you were to come in here, you wouldn't even notice I have fewer comics than I used to. Of course, it doesn't help that I, buy 8 this week.
The earlier conversation was about what I would like to see reprinted. And the only thing I could come up with, and it's only because of nostalgia, because I enjoyed it, but I was a kid, was when Eclipse did a series called New Wave.
Yes, I remember
because
that.
they were 50 cents books.
Yep, I remember those.
They were bi-weekly, and there were characters in there that I never knew about at that time.
They were new and exciting to you.
Yes. Although most of them were just old comics making a comeback. Like The Heap, Airboy was part of that, and New Wave was one of the titles I do clearly remember. And I remember liking them. They weren't up to par with like Marvel books.
Right.
But it was like the first attraction was they were 50 cents. When Marvel was about 75 cents. So that was the first attractiveness to them. And they were just something different. And I think that was probably they were the indie books of the time that I would, because they weren't Marvel or DC. And though Ellipse wasn't an indie book, but it kind of was compared to the fact that I didn't know they exist until I stumbled onto this stack of
Right.
books, kind of a thing, and had no idea what kind of because they weren't really on the monthly schedule, they would just show up, kind of a thing. And I enjoyed those. But again, I haven't read any of them since the 80s,
Right.
so I don't know how good they actually were.
Yeah, I can't imagine something that I'd want. I'm trying to think of anything I'd want a reprint of that I A, already don't have, or B, hasn't already been reprinted.
Right.
It's like everything's been reprinted just about in this day. There's very little that hasn't.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's very few. There
I
was
mean,
like,
you can get ROM in the Micronauts now.
Yeah.
Yeah. very much so.
Okay,
There-
okay, so Vasily's never finished the Coney Island comic, apparently.
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
I think the slab average cost is around $40, so anything at least double that is a good sale for a slab.
Yeah,
Nothing is a good sale for a slab. You're being conned.
I have bought some $40 slabbed comics. The problem with it is they're dollar comics. But
Yeah.
I like them. I bought them as, those are the ones I bought as conversation pieces when I was looking at the cheapest slab comics I could get.
10 feet long legs, females brigade. Yes, that's appropriate. Tammy Whammy Lammy, you showed up as a paradox. We are near the end, which means you have to go back.
watch it from the beginning.
Sequential Geek just gave away a stack of comics to a local shelter for families.
Ah.
That's nice. Sure, it's not
Yeah.
food, but yeah, it gives them something. It gives the kids something to do. Nothing beats Evangeline from Rob's Maximum Press. Wasn't the character based on Rob's wife?
I don't know if it was, but it should have been. It makes a better story if it was.
Yeah. I got my first comics purchase of 2025 in the mail. Cerebus Flight.
Ah, okay. Do I have that one back there? Which one is that? Yes,
No,
I've
and
got
as far as
one.
I know, none of the continuity comics were ever reprinted.
Volume
I don't
7.
think they ever made trade paperbacks of those.
Eric P wants a reprint of the Kirby 2001.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah. That thing's probably going to be hell to reprint.
Yeah. And the one would have to be Treasury Edition size.
The characters of the Coney Island Island Pirates.
I'll have to look that one up. Emo's Bible.
I don't remember your brother being an emo, man.
No,
You
I
missed
missed the live. Boo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Slavic
I
Ravage
thought about
yes.
Slavic Ravage 2099. I cut up for paper and send it to you, Jared, but the joke isn't worth $40. Go. I do have some broken open slabs, though, that I was always going to do a project with, but haven't.
We did not start early. We started at the normal time.
That's my Saturday routine ruined.
6 p.m. Eastern. Or as Eastern Seaboard people say, 6 p.m. Why do you mean there's other times?
We only call it the Eastern Seaboard when the power goes out. I noticed
Yeah.
that during like the blackout of 2004 or whenever it was. I'm like, you never hear the phrase Eastern Seaboard unless there's a disaster of some kind.
Right.
Otherwise, no one
There's a
calls it that.
wave might hit the eastern seaboard.
Yeah,
If
a
it's,
power outage all across the Eastern Seaboard. It's like you never hear that any other time.
Daylight savings time confuses our favorite time traveler.
Yes.
No. Oh, there's no logical explanation. It's daylight savings time, and it's never logical.
Nope.
We all want it
Something
to
about
end.
farmers and school children. I don't know.
Yeah, but who cares? Everybody just stays up all night watching Netflix anyway. So nobody works on a farm.
So, did you know that the costume designs for the New Wave characters were designed by Mark Grunwald?
No.
So, the credits page story is by Sheen Demon and Mindy Newell. That's a familiar name.
Yep, Mindy.
Scripted
She
by
worked as an
Mindy
editor at
Newell.
Marvel.
Pencils and letters by Lee Weeks. Inks by Ty Templeton. Editor is Sean Demons. Editor-in-chief is Kat and
Ironwood.
Ironwood?
YR, yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
then thanks to
Ironwood.
Mark Grunwald for the costume designs.
Ah.
Special
Who
thanks
was it?
to Don Thompson and Maggie Thompson.
Kat Ironwood was like a longtime editor at Eclipse or something. Where'd she come from?
Yeah.
I remember only learning how to pronounce her name by like her editorials told you how.
She edited Miracle Man.
Yeah, so
Okay.
these are the credits for Eclipse New Wave. So it had 13 issues, or from what I could see here, 1986. And then there was something called New Waves versus the Volunteers.
Yeah,
Let's
the
see.
Bangs and
Do
the
I
Strip
have any
ones.
issues of that?
Yeah. Next week. I don't know. Do I do it again? I should test.
We'll be on my channel next week. We'll switch off every other one.
Mm-hmm.
New York will do it from. And Portugal the week after. I think every other week is fun.
All right. I think if you share the referral link like I just did, you can have discount.
I've been having that up all the time. It's like, what is that? Oh, I just shared my referral link and it grayed it out. So it won't let me. It's like,
Sorry,
I don't know
you
what
have
that
to.
referral link.
Sorry, Tommy Wimey, you have to use your TARDIS.
Message games. Time for some confetti and
Crystal
balloons?
Palace versus. It means Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. That's a soccer game. It's a soccer game.
Some laser beams to wrap things up.
Yeah. And let's make it rain.
Some rain. We got all the stuff.
Yes. Watch the Miami Formula E Grand Prix on Saturday and the IndyCar Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach on Sunday.
Oh yeah, lots of Grand Prix.
Sunday.
And read some comics.
That's
there
right.
You go.
And we are going to end this stream.
All right, we'll catch everybody